Welcome to Thaiger Bites. This is a section where we get to address your comments and questions. And I'm joined here today with Mike.
Hey.
Mike, the ever so popular. Now, if you missed yesterday's episode, it was a really good episode. You can check out the episode here. As for today's episode, let's just get right into it. I have a comment here from Star Farish, who says, "You said the word sandbox. See ya." See ya. Mike?
For our Alan James, he's written a few times to us. I feel like I've got to address this because he seems to be a bit angry. I mean, his question is that the government seems to be moving towards making COVID vaccinations compulsory in Thailand. He then goes on to talk about a lot of things, but he's basically saying he's a 75-year-old monk, his health isn't good, and he's concerned that it's violating his human rights if this vaccination is made compulsory. Now, I mean, the only thing we can say to you is that it's not compulsory. So, I mean, there's no point having a what-if scenario. I mean, it's just not compulsory. Currently, I don't think they're forcing anyone anywhere in the world, are they, as far as we know?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. So I think, Alan, we have to only address it if, otherwise we can always address hypotheticals, what if this happens, what if that happens, we can even go as far as anything. But I think for this, we've just got to say, listen, this isn't the case at the moment, so there's no point having this conversation yet, so we have to move on from that one.
Yeah, well, mandatory is saying that, you have to. I guess different countries are putting it in different ways, that if you don't have a vaccine, you can't do certain things. So in that way, yes, some countries have made it mandatory, and some things in Thailand, for example, like you can't go dine in if you're not vaccinated. So, that way, yes, it is mandatory to do certain things, but if you have a serious health condition and if you think that someone's going to physically force you to get a vaccine, then no, you don't have to talk about it because that's it's not mandatory in that way.
Yeah, and if that does happen, we'll come on the show and we'll kind of, try and raise this concern. But I think right now, if it's not mandatory, there's no, we can't really do anything and kind of preempt what's going to happen. So sorry to hear your concerns, Alan, and I hope that your health gets better and that kind of puts an end to that one.
Right. I have a comment here from Darren Fancy, who's a Thaiger legend. Thank you, Darren. Mike, I just want to say you are growing on me with each passing day. As for rubbing people up the wrong way, for now, you are only allowed foot rubs.
Okay. I'm just a bit concerned like what is actually growing here. So no, but thank you so much. I mean, look, there was a load of negative comments about me initially. People just don't like me by the seams of it. I've got no idea. I come on here and just, I talk, I'm filling in a gap, and you get quite a lot of abusive comments. But, I actually enjoy them, which is the weird part. And so thank you very much for your
thank you, Darren, for the comment. And to be honest, a lot of people have also shown support for you, Mike. So good on you. You've been doing a great job.
# Team Mike. Okay. So Bob Janelle says, any entertainer that abuses his audience is allowing arrogance to override intelligence. I will take Mike's advice. If I don't like Mike's opinion, I don't have to watch. I can't unsubscribe without unsubscribing from the news, which itself is limited in facts, selective, and often more presenters think than facts. Okay, you've lost me as a viewer. Now, Bob, I think that number one, I'm not an entertainer. I've never been an entertainer. I'm actually an entrepreneur that's filling in because Tim is taking a much needed vacation. So I'm not here to entertain you. That's the first thing. Number two is that I don't get paid for this, right? And this is not my job. I'm not coming on here and getting paid for this. So I'm sorry you feel that way. And you can watch just Thailand News Today. We've been through this multiple times. If you just want to watch the news, there is a news section called Thailand News Today. That is great, and that is all about the news. It's professionally done. This is more of a light-hearted, Good Morning Thailand and a comment section, which should be a bit more fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right, let's move on. I've got a comment here from John Norman, who says, it is no longer possible to live in Thailand on the Aussie Pension, simply because the minimum monthly amount of income as laid out by the Thai government is above what the Aussie pension is per month. Now, John has left this comment, as he repeatedly said, 3 times. So, yes, John, thank you for that information. It is certain pensions are not worth living in Thailand for, because you're right, Thailand's living costs have increased.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to the debate. There's a whole debate about can people on state pensions, because someone's called me out for not saying state pensions, live cheaper in Thailand than they can in their domestic country. Mm-hmm. And I would say, of course, if you have property, right? That's the golden part, isn't it? If you own a property in your local country and you're living on a state pension, it will probably be cheaper to stay there than come to Thailand to rent a property and also live on your state pension, right? Because real estate is probably the most expensive outgoing you're going to have, unless you want to live in a tiny room with a fan going around. So I think that it's all representative of what really your pension is, and you know, your circumstances in relation to having, you know, a house in your domestic country versus Thailand, and also where you want to live. You know, the point we're trying to make is it's not as cheap as it used to be, and I think you can't argue that, because I spoke about inflation, prices are going up, and then someone's commented that, well, prices are going up everywhere in the world. I'm like, no shit, Sherlock, right? Prices are going up everywhere in the world. That's what inflation is, okay? It's the increase of prices everywhere, okay? So let's not try and debate, you know, macroeconomics. So let's just move on.
Right, there's a bleep there.
Okay.
Next comment, Mike.
Okay, so from Ulik Longford, just wondering if a tourist double vaccinated tests positive. So he's saying, if someone tests positive for COVID, you know, can they choose what hospital they would go to if they have insurance? I mean, I don't think there's clear guidelines on this, but we have friends that have test positive that have chosen to go to certain hospitals. It does cost more. It's all dependent on whether your insurance will cover it or not. But I think if you go to, say, Bangkok Hospital, which is one of the biggest hospital brands in the country, and test for COVID there and you test positive, they will give you the option, as long as there's availability, to stay in one of their private rooms within the hospital. So you can avoid like the field quarantine hospitals.
Yes. Right, moving on, I have a comment here from The Global Food Journey, who says, Jay said businesses have the right to allow only vaccinated people in, then went on to say, just as you have the choice to go or not to go to restaurants. I'm not sure how that works. He's trying to say that I've contradicted myself, which, yes, in a way I have. Perhaps I should have been more clearer. My comment was more meant for people who choose not to get vaccinated and who still can. There are some people who cannot get vaccinated, and that's why it's unfair. For example, my sister's too young, so due to her age, she cannot get vaccinated. So like I said, private businesses are private. They can choose to whether to let people in or not, because that's a business that they own. Just like if people choose not to get vaccinated, even though they can, they should, you know, they need to respect the private business's decision, just like we're respecting their decision. So it's all about the freedom to choose, but you have to live with your choices as well.
Yep. And cool. And everyone says I say cool after each line. So the same commenter has gone on to say, genuine question, what qualifications does Mike have? I mean, you know, anyway, that's what he says. What qualifications does Mike have? Why should I listen to his advice? I mean, number one, I'm actually not giving you advice. I'm giving you my opinion. So I'll say, you know, take it with a pinch of salt. I think if you want to, there's a video on me which you can actually click on right there, which will put up a card, so you can see a conversation I have with Tim Newton about who I am and what I do. But someone's actually, so I've replied to the Global Food Journey with, you know, my comments, where someone else has come on and said, I don't want to know anything about this knucklehead. I'm certainly not boosting his viewing figures. So Harry the monk, I think is what your name is, by commenting, you are actually boosting our viewing numbers. That's how YouTube works. If you comment, numbers go up. So thank you so much.
Thank you. There's a fan.
Yeah,
there's
awesome.
a fan in him.
I know.
And he called you a knucklehead. Our best compliment yet.
I know. We didn't realise how good being a knucklehead actually is.
Yeah. Right. I have a comment here from Dan Roman, who says, no problems with hosts. However, I decided to terminate my subscription to the Thaiger, as it seems the channel's moderators don't like me commenting on the Chinese Communist Party. Right, Dan Roman, I am very well aware of who you are. You are our long-serving viewer and commenter, and we've always loved having you comment on our shows. However, I'd like to let you know that if you do link, swear, or use any type of profanity, and I guess I don't know what comment you said about the Chinese Communist Party, but whatever comments you made, it is YouTube that will automatically delete your comment if it feels that it is inappropriate regarding what you said, what words you used, and also to the video. So we sometimes don't even know you've commented. as you've commented now, I have read out your comments before in the past, so it's not any moderators that are limiting you to say what you want. It also depends on what you're saying and if it's allowed, so we do have to follow YouTube's rules.
Yeah, so I mean, there is definitely, no censorship going on here. I think if we were censoring the comments, I wouldn't let so many people say so many bad things about me. I'll just be like, delete, delete, delete. So what it is if you put a link, our rules are, which is what YouTube has defined, if you put a link, it goes to held for review. So the best way to get comments through is not to put a link out. And the reason why that happens is because we don't want spam links put on the website, which is click here for more information, and you end up on a porn site. So we're doing this to protect our viewers, and it's actually YouTube's policies. The other part is normal words which are of profanity, or even words like scandemic. YouTube automatically holds his comments for reviews, and we can't spend time going through and clicking approve, approve, approve. I mean, we're pretty busy. So if you just try and make the comment as, use different words and don't put links in it, and you should get your comments through.
You can clearly get your views across in the comment you just made. So yeah, just keep it simple.
Yep. So there was, I think you had a comment on the area, Mae Sai.
Yes, so I had a comment here from Steve Woolley who says, how can you not know where Mae Sai is? It's the northernmost town in Thailand in the Chiang Rai province. You really need to get out more. Steve, firstly, I agree with you. I do have to get out more. You have spelt Mae Sai wrong. It is actually spelt with M-A-E. And that's actually part of the problem. Now, a lot of the times people, for example, they put John Mae Sai. And that's how we'd read it in English. And you don't get the right tone, and it doesn't register in your mind that they're talking about a place in Thailand. This is referring to a comment on Thaiger Bites yesterday. That Mike made. So I am aware of Mae Sai. I've never been there before, along with a lot more places in Thailand that are absolutely gorgeous. You're right. I need to travel more in Thailand. I wish I could right now, but I can't. So yes, I should know more places. I do know Mae Sai, but this is part of the problem. People often spell it wrong or write it wrong.
But even if I would have known the pronunciation, I haven't heard of it. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't think you know every place that exists in Thailand either. I mean, I'm going to chuck out some random ones, and I'm sure they're not going to be. I mean, we're limited, right? We're just people, right? We're not going to know every single destination in the whole country. So I'm sorry, and the pronunciation leads on to a bigger thing. I mean, there's a few viewers that are concerned with the way I'm saying the word, which I say, I'm just saying normally how I say it, as Phuket. And I had a conversation with Jay. They said, that is weird. It is Phuket. Now, because I come from the UK, which we pronounce the H and the U, that's how I say it. So I'm sorry, and I don't think I'm going to change. So Phuket. Does that really annoy you?
Anyway, Steve, thank you for the comment about Mae Sai, and we are now aware of it. Any other comments?
Victor has talking about BTC. So we had this whole conversation yesterday about, we introduced the concept of talking about Bitcoin and depreciation of digital assets. And he's given us a bigger explanation to what's actually happened with Bitcoin. He's explained that institutional whales decided to liquidate their positions, dropping the value by around $10,000. They did it specifically on this day, in which El Salvador officially adopted the BTC as its official currency because they wanted to overshadow and dampen this big occasion. I mean, it seems a little bit bitter, but I think that's what he's saying happened. This is an attempt to undermine Bitcoin's recent climb back above the 50,000 mark, and he believes that it's going to go up and maintain a bullish cycle. So, Victor, thank you so much for giving us some more enlightenment on how Bitcoin is actually working and what's happening with the price fluctuation. So thank you for that one.
Right. My last comment here from Peter Mason, who says, digital nomads who want long-term visas don't really understand the definition of the word nomad, which I completely agree with, because yes, if he really was a nomad, why would he want to spend 10 years in Thailand? I chose this comment because a lot of people were commenting regarding visas and digital nomads, again relating to the episode from yesterday.
Okay.
Any last comments?
So my last comment comes from News Now Tomorrow Today. News Now Tomorrow Today. So he says, Mike hasn't done his homework, has he? The Thai postal system is useless at best. So how can you work online?
What?
I mean, so the whole concept of working online is you're actually online, not posting. I mean, I don't know what am I going to be posting. I mean, what, I'm going to email someone and then send them a letter to tell them I've emailed them. I mean, I'm not too sure where to go with this one. I mean, the only, I'm trying to think where you're coming from. Maybe you're talking about posting, delivery of goods and services. Well, there's not just a Thai postal system. I mean, you have Kerry Express, lots of private companies that are offering, Grab do this now, providing, deliveries. And I found it very reliable. But I think if we are debating, is working online really offline? I mean, I think I'm not too sure. I mean, as far as I know, if I'm working online, I'm working online. And I won't be using the Thai postal system. But there are alternatives to sending goods out as opposed to the national Thai postal system. So, and that's my last comment.
Right. I hope you've enjoyed today's Thaiger Bites episode. I'd like to thank Mike for joining the show.
Yep, thank you.
I'd like to thank Jason again behind the buttons and cameras and a lot of computers. And if you enjoyed the show, please click like and subscribe to our channel. We're trying to reach 100,000 subscribers by the end of the weekend, and you can make that happen. A lot of the people come here and enjoy our videos. If you do enjoy them, just please like.
If you've made it this far to the end of the video, just click it. It's not going to change anything. You want to watch the next one, right?
100,000 subscribers, and you can make it happen, and we need your help. Thank you for joining us for today, and we will see you tomorrow.